know. There you go. See how we looking with the camera. Oh, I gotta change that. All right. What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, YouTube? We're not live on Twitch today. We're live on Kick. We're live on Kick and YouTube today. And I'll tell you why. We're live on Kick and YouTube today because Twitch has this new policy where you can't stream on you can't stream on multiple different platforms. You have to just stream on Twitch. I can stream on TikTok and Twitch because TikTok doesn't count as a streaming platform yet. But what it does, I won't be able to even do that. But I'm streaming on. You said why Kick? Because Kick right now, Kick is it's doing better than Twitch, in my opinion. It's doing better than Twitch, in my opinion. Wrong one. There we are, right here. But anyway, we're live on. We just tried to beat it. All right, we're watching scary movies. All right, if you're in the Kick chat, bro, spam W, bro. Spam W if you're in the Kick chat, bro. But scary movies. Let's get it. All right, we're gonna pick up where we left off on this one right here. So it's 3 lockdown horror stories. I hope y'all down for that. Feel me? You said ban who?
Watch me
oh yeah, I'm gonna ban him.
Actually subscribed.
Yeah, I'm banning him.
So if you like the content and want to support
stupid.
the channel, go ahead and hit the bell. It's free, and you can always change your mind later.
All right, let's watch this.
Story 2. My turn. The room in the boutique hotel.
There's someone in my Kick chat. I had the man.
It had a bed and a bathroom and a television. But best of all, it had a window looking out onto a pristine
Thank you, Buster Brown.
and turquoise water. It wasn't like we'd be spending much time in the hotel anyway. Abby and I had all kinds of fun activities planned.
Oh, we got 17 viewers in the Kick chat. Okay.
And we paid a small fortune for this vacation.
I'm messing with that.
So we were determined to make the most of it. But as we arrived at the 3-story hotel, we were feeling the effects of jet lag from flying halfway around the world. So our plan was to get some serious sleep.
I'm gonna take a shower,
Abby said when we settled in.
Ugh, please do,
I said from the bed,
What's wrong with
waving
him?
my hand in front of my nose. Abby smiled, but her eyes narrowed.
I was going to suggest we fool around once I got out, but I don't know about that anymore.
Are you gonna stream on Kick tonight?
I said.
Probably Twitch tonight.
We both laughed, and then she went to take her shower.
I'm gonna stream on Kick during the day and Twitch at night.
There was a popular superhero movie on, but it was dubbed in the local language. At least there were subtitles. Zoning out, I closed my eyes for a few minutes. But when the building started shaking,
Oh God,
I
Buster
jumped
Brown.
up from the bed, looking around in confusion. The television shorted out, along with the lights. I ran into the bathroom as the shaking continued. Abby was shouting, and the water suddenly shut off. Grabbing a towel, I ripped open the shower curtain and helped her out. Then we both crouched in the bathroom doorway. We had the shades open on a beautiful sunny afternoon, but something had happened to the sunlight. The room was totally dark. After about a minute, the shaking stopped and things settled. Still,
Can you tell the video to
we
stop
stayed in the
lagging?
doorway.
It's not lagging.
Abby's blonde hair was still dripping as she clutched the ends of the towel to her chest.
How am I gonna tell a video to stop
Earthquake?
lagging?
She asked.
It's not lagging, bro.
Must have been.
I said. The room was still dark. I couldn't see anything.
Stay here.
I went over to the window, seeing nothing but darkness. Like a black blanket had been thrown over the windows.
Hey,
exterior.
W Twitch follow. W
reached
Kick
around
follow.
on
I
the
gotta get used to
nightstand for my
that.
phone.
W Kick follow. Thank you for the
When
Kick
I lit
follow.
it up, it showed I had no service.
What the hell is happening?
I whispered.
Did you close the shades earlier?
Abby asked.
No,
Suddenly, the lights in the room came back on.
I feel like they went
The sound
underground
of water hitting the shower basin came from the bathroom.
or an earthquake.
The television came back on, but there was only a blue screen, and the window remained dark. I swallowed hard and moved back over to Abby.
no service.
I said, showing her my phone. I helped her up, and she went to check her phone. Stepping to the door, I tried the knob. It moved, but I couldn't open the door. Then I remembered the deadbolt. I unlocked it and then tried again. The door didn't budge. So I leaned forward and peered out through the peephole. The hallway looked normal. There was no one out there. The door across from us was closed. Then, from the left, someone came into view, distorted by the fisheye lens. No, it was two people. A sliver of dread stabbed through me as the people, a man and a woman, walked right up to our door.
Can't go full screen.
As
Why
the
not?
man looked up, I jumped away from the peephole, producing a frightened grunt.
That's probably
Abby
kick
asked
itself
for
though. That
further
has
in the
nothing to do
room.
with me.
It's us.
I said, not really believing the words myself. What?
Gotta remember,
I
Kick's
shook
still a
my
new
head,
app.
trying to come back to my senses. I stepped back to the peephole. The hall was empty again.
What did you see?
Abby said, coming up next to me, grabbing my hand.
I saw us in the hallway, walking up to the door, just like when we got here.
Abby shook her head, brows furrowed. Then she moved forward and looked for herself.
There's nothing there. You're right.
I said.
You're right. See if you can open the door.
I sat on the bed while Abby tried, to no avail, to open the door. I kept looking from my phone to the black window. I couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was happening. Abby tried to phone the front desk, but she didn't even get a dial tone on the landline. We were stuck.
I'm sure someone will come check on us soon. We can't be the only ones in the hotel.
Abby said. We tried our best.
I think that was a
pretend
Twitch
like
follow.
everything was okay. We even tried to sleep.
Thank you for the Twitch
But it
follow,
was
but
no
I'm not live on
use.
Twitch right now.
Our phones still kept time, so we watched as the hours dropped away. There was still electricity, so we were able to charge our phones and computers, but we couldn't access the internet or call anyone. We couldn't communicate with the outside world. 24 hours passed and nothing happened. We banged on
W
the
kick
door and the
follow.
walls. We ate the few snacks we had, and we drank water out of the faucet. The blackness outside the window never changed. Every so often, I would try to open the door again. When I decided I tried to break it down, Abby talked me out of it. She was certain someone would be coming soon. I wasn't so sure. On the second night, Abby was snoozing lightly when I heard something from out in the hall. I jumped up and rushed to the peephole, looking out.
That was a Twitch follow.
The door across from us opened, and an Asian couple walked out, rolling their suitcases behind them and chatting in a language I couldn't understand. I banged on the
Nah,
door
you
and
got banned
screamed,
for a reason.
waking Abby, but the couple made no sign that they even heard me. And by the time Abby got to the door, they were gone. I could tell she didn't believe me.
Y'all hear the soundtrack?
After all, I was the only one who had seen anything
Y'all
out
hear
the
the soundtrack?
peephole.
The soundtrack kind of
I'm
tough.
telling you, there were people there. I heard them talking.
I said.
Fine, I believe you. Is that what you want to hear? I guess they were deaf, even though they were talking. You don't f***ing believe me.
I shouted.
Hey, W
Don't
follow
lie
on the
to me.
kick.
Don't shout at me.
Abby said in a low voice.
Remember what Dr. Shelton said about yelling. Dr. Shelton!
Yeah.
Don't you see that we're
Yeah, F Dr. Shelton.
screwed here? If we don't get out of here, we're going to starve to death.
Abby stormed past me and into the bathroom, slamming the door. Another day passed. We didn't speak much. Our hunger and fear took up our thoughts and energy. We just laid on the bed, staring up at the ceiling. We kept the light on, unable to bear the pitch dark. Finally, sleep came to me, but it didn't last long.
Josh!
Abby called, jerking me awake.
Josh!
Jerking you a
She
what?
was in the little hallway next to the bathroom. I stepped to the foot of the bed and saw the box, sitting just inside the door.
What the hell is that?
I asked.
Did you get the door open? No!
Abby said, almost crying.
It still won't open. The box was just sitting here when I came to use the bathroom.
I skirted the box, careful not to touch it. It looked like cardboard, but not quite. The texture was wrong, like it was slicker than cardboard, slightly shinier. After looking out the peephole and seeing nothing but the empty hallway, I tried the door. It still wouldn't open.
Come on!
I screamed, banging on the door. After a minute of this, I'd worn myself out.
Are you done?
Abby asked.
You really think that's going to help anything?
I ignored her and turned my attention to the box. It was closed, the two long flaps pressed together on top.
Stop talking
but there
about
was
fog
no
for
tape holding
when the
them in
fog's already
place.
here.
And when I touched the top of the box, the two flaps opened.
W Twitch
Working
follow.
carefully, I opened the box and looked inside.
I think it's food.
I said. Abby, who'd been standing back with a blank look on her face, seemed to snap out of her daze.
Really?
Inside the box were small rectangular bars. They were the same color as the cardboard, but they had a different texture. I could smell them. They smelled like those all-natural granola bars you get for $5 a piece at health food stores. My stomach rumbled. I reached in and grabbed one, lifting and taking a bite out of it while Abby yelled for me to stop.
Are you kidding me?
She said,
You're just going to eat it? Just like that?
it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. I closed my eyes and made a small moan as I chewed.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, come
Send it
on.
off to the lab to
That
have
was
it tested?
that was such unnecessary detail. I closed my eyes and made a small moan as I chewed. That's such an unnecessary detail.
I said, but my heart wasn't
Like
in the
what?
fight. I scarfed the rest of the bar down and had to stop myself from eating another one. It's not like there wasn't plenty in the box. There was. Probably 48 or more of the things. But I wanted to wait to see if there were any ill effects before eating more. Abby made it about an hour, asking me how I felt every 5 minutes before she ate one. With some food in my stomach, I finally fell asleep for a little while. 2 more days passed. Even though we now had food to eat, it gave us little solace. The stress, combined with the close quarters, meant Abby and I were yelling at each other for what seemed like once every 2 hours.
I have no
Finally,
idea where this story's
in the
going.
middle of another fight, I stormed to the bathroom and slammed the door, locking it. Abby came
W
to the
kick
door and
follow.
started tapping on it, egging me on. She wanted to keep fighting. So I turned on the shower and sat under the warm water.
With
not
your
even
clothes
bothering
on?
to take off my clothes.
Why?
I sat there for a long time. At some point, I turned off the water and took off my wet clothes. After drying off and hanging my clothes, I unlocked the door and headed out of the bathroom to find the hotel room door open. I froze, looking out the open door and into the hallway.
Abby?
No answer. Holding the towel around my waist with one hand, I moved into the room. It was empty. Abby was gone. I ran into the hallway, looking frantically left
Yeah, bro,
and right.
kind of ripped. He got abs.
The hallway lights were on, and I could see a window at the end of the hall to my right. It was pitch black on the other side of the glass, just like the window in our room. Running to the left, I rounded the corner toward the stairs and the elevator. No sign of Abby. I hit the elevator button, but nothing happened. It didn't light up, so I tried the door to the stairwell. It wouldn't budge. I ran back the other way, passing the room and stopping when I got to the window.
What the fuck?
I screamed, punching the window. A sharp pain shot through my hand, and I knew I'd broken something. The window remained unmarred.
How you break your
Clenching
hand
my
like
teeth
that?
and gripping my right hand below the wrist with my left, I stumbled back to the room, tears streaming down my face. And as I came to the door, I noticed something on it. There was a small device fastened over the peephole, almost like a little version of those doorbell cameras people have. I couldn't remember if it was there when we came to the room, but as I looked around, I saw that every door had one. I went across the hall and banged on the door. There was no answer. I did the same with 3 other doors. Nothing. I turned back and went into my room, leaving the door open about halfway. I stepped behind it and looked through the peephole, and I saw the hallway as it would have been if the door had been closed. But it wasn't closed all the way. I should have seen the door jam and only half the hallway, but I didn't. Whatever the device was on the other side of the door, it was playing a recording of the hallway. As I was contemplating this,
Oh, that's smart. Yo, that's creepy. So it's a camera. He's just seeing, he saw the door as it was closed, but it's not closed all the way. So he shouldn't be seeing that. He shouldn't be seeing that. Oh.
the sound of movement came from inside the room.
Abby?
I said, hair standing up on my neck.
What do you mean, why did I get
crept
banned?
past the
I didn't get
bathroom and into the room.
Oh, you're talking
I
about,
could see the
why did
back
he get
of
banned on
Abby's head
Twitch?
just beyond the bed, as
I
if she
don't know,
was
I don't know
sitting on
why
the
you
floor
got
with
banned
her
on
back
Twitch.
against the bed.
What's your name on Twitch?
I rushed over toward her.
Abby, baby,
The words jammed in my throat as I saw my girlfriend. Her parts were all mixed up.
What the heck?
Her mouth was on her forehead, her tongue hanging limply out. One of her eyes was on her left cheek. The
Eric's
other one
friend?
was where her mouth should have been.
Nah, just stay on
Her
the kick,
nose
little
had
bro.
been turned, her nostrils pointing to the left instead of down. Her left leg had been swapped with her left arm. She looked up at me with confused eyes, then tried to get up. She managed to get to her right leg, but when she tried to walk, she stumbled into the window. I moved back, watching as her left leg twitched and worked where it came out of her t-shirt at her left shoulder. She kept trying to get up. Her eyes rolled in desperation. My mouth wanted to work, but there was nothing to say. I was sure I'd gone insane. Back in the real world, my blubbering body was a vegetable. Maybe I'd been in an accident, severe head injury. As I backed toward the hall, I passed the television, which suddenly switched on. This time, there was an actual program on, instead of a blue screen. It was a news program, in English. There was an aerial view of a pristine beach and turquoise water, but the tranquility of the scene was in stark contrast to the mess of rebar and plumbing and wiring that stuck out of the ground where a building had once stood. The building I was in now, the hotel. Still no explanation for the mysterious disappearance of an entire hotel on this remote Pacific island. It has been 5 days since the structure simply vanished, leaving experts to
I'm live on
scramble
YouTube.
for
Yeah, I'm live on
explanations
YouTube
that
and
don't
Kick.
involve extraterrestrials. The family members of those staying and working in the hotel say that... The words were drowned out by the blood rushing in my ears. Abby stumbled toward me,
is
reaching
that?
out with her right hand as she balanced on her right leg. She grabbed my left hand and jammed it up to her throat. It took me a moment to realize she was asking me to kill her. I shook my head and yanked my hand away as panic closed in. Backing toward the door, my only thought was to run. But I couldn't go
I
anywhere.
thought he was peeing too.
There was no escape. And as I backed up to the doorway, I felt the strong,
Am I quitting Twitch?
cold
No,
grip
I'm not
of
quitting
hands with
Twitch.
too many fingers around my arms and legs. Something slimy clamped around my face, keeping me from shouting out or seeing the culprits. I fought as they dragged me down the hallway, but it was no use. The observation portion of the experiment was over. Now, they were going to take me apart and put me back together.
Why wouldn't it let you
It was
follow on
my
Kick?
turn.
That's weird.
Story.
That's crazy. Oh my god, that story was crazy. Hey, but if you're in the TikTok live, come to the Kick or YouTube. We're live on Kick or YouTube, all right? So you can go to the YouTube or Kick. You know, a new streaming app. It's competitor with Twitch. But come to the Kick or YouTube at Hundo_Gram, bro. All right? Now let's get it, bro. Are you alive yesterday? What? What are you talking about, man?
Three. Here
Number
comes
3,
the
let's get
night.
it.
The line of cars ahead of me curves around and down toward the parking garage's exit, 2 floors below. I'm
All
on
right,
the
Harriet.
3rd floor
I'll
of the
unban you, bro.
5-story garage.
Because you talking too much, bro.
It's
I'll
the
unban you on
end
Twitch.
of another long day.
Oh, my shit.
When I first started working here, I tried to duck out of the office early so I wouldn't have to wait 10 or 15 minutes just to get out of the poorly designed garage. But I quickly realized that it didn't matter what time I left. I would always get stuck.
I didn't say following the
waiting
Twitch.
as the line
They're
slowly
following the
dwindled
Kick.
down. Of course, if I wanted to stick around in the office until 7 or 8, I could get out of the garage in a matter of minutes. But that wasn't an
All right,
option.
Harriet.
So
You're
here I
unbanned, bro.
sit,
You're literally
once again.
unbanned.
The skyscrapers outside are painted with the last rays of dull orange sunshine as the night expands into its fullness. The car ahead of me inches forward. I follow suit, moving no more than 2 feet. Cars, trucks, and SUVs choke the narrow aisle. Some poor suckers are sitting in their cars, still in their parking spots.
New Jersey
They
Simulator.
won't
No, I
be able
hate
to
y'all
get
for
out
that.
for a long time.
I'm
Not
in New
unless
Jersey
some
and
good
it smells like
Samaritan
it's
stops
really
and lets
bad
them
here.
back up. But it won't be me. Not today. There's some kind of commotion ahead, where the line of cars curves to the left, down the ramp to the second level. I hear the faint squeal of tires over the podcast I have playing in my vehicle, followed by the muted crash of a fender bender. Oh, great, I say. Just what we need.
I'm not live on Twitch
Then there's
because
another, louder crash, and more tires.
I'm trying to go crazy. I'm trying to go crazy
A
on
young man in an
Kick too.
off-the-rack suit comes running around the corner.
Oh, and you can't
Upward,
stream multiple
sprinting up the
platforms. You
ramp.
can't stream on
His
multiple
eyes are
platforms while
wide,
streaming on
and he's
Twitch.
looking at
That's
the people
why.
in the cars he passes, yelling something. I roll down my window as he approaches.
Am I live on YouTube? Yes,
He
I'm live on
screams.
YouTube at Hundo_Gram.
Beyond him, I see several other people run around the corner. There are men and women, all dressed in business casual. One woman with glasses and a tangerine dress trips just as she's rounding the concrete pillar that blocks my view of the ramp. She lands with her upper body visible to me. And just as she's getting to her hands and knees, she's yanked backward so fast her glasses fly off.
Oh my God.
Bright lights flare from the car in front of me as the guy puts his sedan in reverse. Before I can react, he hits the gas and slams into the front of my Nissan Rogue. I look in my rearview mirror and see that the car behind me is right on my tail. I'm not going anywhere. Not in my vehicle, anyway. I put it in park, panic expanding in my chest like a terrible balloon. No more people are running up from the lower level, but I can hear screaming from down there. I grab my phone out of the cradle, open the door, and jump out. And I sprint back along the line of cars, heading toward the stairwell. If I can get to the ground, I can get help. But just as I reach the stairwell, which is next to the 2 elevators, I nearly crash into a balding guy who works in my office. He's coming up out of the stairwell.
Todd!
I say, looking into his eyes. I can't look for long. There's something about them. Something haunting.
What? Bro, sus, what?
And as I glance down, I see blood on his black shoes and brown pants. Fresh blood.
Don't go that way.
He says.
Why? What's happening? I was down there, Jamie. I saw something. What? What the hell is going on? Can't we get out that way?
Todd shakes his head.
It's on lockdown. The metal gates came down. The pedestrian doors are locked. There's no way out down there.
I run over to the nearest side of the parking garage and look down at the sidewalk below. As I'm watching, I see a man jump out from the floor below, screaming. He lands hard on his feet and curls into a roll. He comes up and sprints into the street without so much as a glance either way. The driver of a city bus hits her brakes, but it's too late. The man is lost from view as he's slammed to the ground and pulled under the bus. Eyes wide in disbelief, the bus driver looks around frantically. Her eyes land on the parking garage. She sees something there on the floor below me, and she screams. I can hear it even though her window is closed. She jams on the gas and the bus streaks away. Meanwhile,
This is literally just like Bird Box. What the heck?
other traffic is stopped on the one-way road. People step out of their cars, cell phones to their ears as they call the police. Then something large and dark soars past overhead. I look up only to see a brief glimpse of what looks like a large shadow disappearing around a building. The sound of metal distorting and glass breaking draws my attention back into the garage. People are now screaming as they ditch their cars, heading past me up the ramp between the 3rd and 4th floors. I look back at the little alcove with the stairwell and elevators. It's jammed with people, pushing and shoving, trying to escape. A car comes flying into view like something out of the movie,
What the heck?
tumbling through the air. It smashes into the alcove. I turn away on instinct before I see the carnage and run up the ramp to the 4th level.
It's a normal
As I
day in
run,
Ohio.
I call 911. I'm greeted with a recording telling me that all call takers are busy. Once again, I make it to the side of the structure and look over the concrete railing. Only this time, I'm looking down from the 4th level. Half of the cars on the street below look to have been abandoned, their doors left open, drivers nowhere in sight. As I watch, several cars try to work their way through the abandoned vehicles. They crash into each other at low speeds, reversing and hitting the gas again as they frantically try to leave. What the hell is happening? There's a whoosh sound from above me. I look up, but see nothing. Just the last of the fading twilight and the darkening sky. Meanwhile, they're still screaming and crashing from below. I decide to run up to the top floor of the parking structure to try and see what's going on. Huffing, I reach the 5th level, which is open to the sky. Buildings of various sizes crowd the view. There's a group of people huddling in one corner, looking fearfully up at the sky. I glance up, trying to see what they're seeing. There's nothing, just a sky going from dark blue to black.
Why?
But then I see something. It doesn't look like much more than a dark shadow, detaching itself from the side of a building, some 200 feet above. At first, I think it's a black tarp, the way it floats. But then it changes shape, like a bird
What is this,
narrowing
Nope? Now this is Nope. It just turned into Nope.
its wings to dive bomb its prey. It streaks toward the group of people at the corner, its inky blackness morphing as it goes. The people see it coming. Some of them scream, others shout, others pray to God. The smart ones scatter,
Camera TikTok, what's good,
diving
man?
under nearby cars,
Thank you for
or
the kick
simply
follow.
sprinting in any random direction. My eyes are locked on the thing, my mind grappling, searching for some explanation, and coming up short. The shadow swoops down onto the remaining people. Tentacles made of the darkest night shoot down, grabbing a half dozen of them and yanking them off the ground.
I don't know why
Then
they
the
aren't
shadow
running.
was airborne again, turning on giant wings that aren't really wings at all. The thing streaks toward me. The sick
This is literally what's happening in New Jersey and New York right now. Like, I'm not even kidding.
screaming and pleading people hanging beneath it. Without thinking, I reach up and grab a woman by the leg, trying to save her, to rip her away from the thing. My feet leave the ground, and before I know it, I'm 15 feet in the air and quickly approaching the side of the parking garage.
Why did you, wait, hold on. Why did you grab, wait, hold on. You're gonna lose, first of all, he's gonna lose grip. Because you can't hang on forever. So why did you grab him?
Eyes are still locked on the thing. I watch as the tentacles pull the people up into the pool of midnight that is the creature's body. As they're pulled up, the tops of their heads touch the underside. Little tendrils of night creep down, shooting into their eyes, turning them pure white. The people stop screaming as they're pulled further in, their mouths lost to the black void. Realizing the same fate awaits me, I finally wrench my eyes away and look down past my feet.
Here's my thing though, bro. The same fate, that wouldn't even have been your fate if you just didn't grab onto her foot.
The cars below are the size of Hot Wheels. The parking garage is several hundred feet under and behind me. But I see that we're approaching a skyscraper. My hands are sweaty around the woman's ankle. My shoulders scream from holding my weight. The people are now up to their waists in the creature. Just a few more moments and I'll be sucked in too. I look toward the skyscraper. Yes, the creature's going to fly over it. My hands are slippery. Just another couple of moments. Just as I'm about to let go, the creature changes direction, skimming over the corner of the skyscraper. I have no choice. I let go and slam into the edge of the building, hooking my arms over the side. My feet scramble for purchase on the vertical exterior. With a loud grunt, I pull myself over and collapse onto the flat roof. On my back, I look up
It looked like he was falling.
at the sky, breathing hard, processing what just happened. I can see a couple of bright stars coming out despite the city's light pollution. From far down below, I hear a symphony of sirens. Finally, I get up to my knees and look out to the west. From here, I can see far enough to spot the western horizon, where the sun
Came for
is still
TikTok. What's
setting.
good, Taeyeon?
But what I see sends a spike of pure terror into my chest. The entire western horizon is crowded with black shadows. They undulate and swoop and dive, like massive predatory birds in a flock large enough to blot out the sun. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and smash that like button.
That was awesome. That was cool. Says we got like 40 viewers in the Kick chat, bro. Make sure y'all follow me on Kick, bro. Make sure y'all follow me on Kick, bro. Let's get it, boy. All right. Also, if you're in the TikTok chat or you know, if you're in the TikTok chat, come to the YouTube or to the Twitch. Y'all saying llama art stories, bro? All right, bro. We'll watch llama arts, but like, I want y'all to know, I have watched all these before, bro. Hey, W Kick follow, bro. I want y'all to know, I have watched all of llama arts, bro. There is not one story, there's not one story besides this one. This is the only one I have not watched, and this like it has like 12 million views, so we can watch it. But let's go. It's the only one I have not watched, bro.
I was out doing a delivery one late night. It was probably the longest drive I had ever taken for a pizza delivery. From the pizza place I worked at, it was a 20-minute drive, which isn't too crazy out where I live. Plus, they ordered 4 large pies, so I figured it was a party and I would get a much bigger tip. Navigating the dirt roads at night was always annoying though. I pulled up to the given address. It was some old, sketchy-looking building, literally in the middle of a forest clearing.
Okay.
There were no cars parked anywhere, or any lights on. I put my car in park and called my boss. I asked him to reread the address at least 3 times to make sure I typed it in right, but that checked out. I could tell he was in a really bitchy mood, and he told me to at least knock
I know
on
I've
the
watched
door
this,
and check
Buster
it
Brown.
out. He would normally get mad if we took back 1 pie, but I was afraid of what he would do if I brought back 4. I was insanely
I don't remember
annoyed,
watching this
but
though.
got out anyway and forced myself to the front door of the building. There was no doorbell, so I just knocked really hard.
W Kick follow.
I heard nothing.
Make sure y'all go to the
Didn't
Kick
really
and follow me. If
expect
you're
to
already
hear
on the
anything.
Kick, follow me.
I was extremely disappointed. Not because nobody answered the door, but because I was realizing that it was all a waste of time and gas. I knocked one more time out of desperation.
I don't remember watching this though.
And then began to hear some kind of rustling noises from inside of the building. I knocked again and yelled that I was the pizza guy. There was silence now. I felt a bit more uncomfortable now than before. But before I could turn around, I noticed something at the window. There was someone looking through the window. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. All I noticed were their eyes. Their eyes were open wider than I knew possible, staring intently at me. I was disturbed enough by this and dropped the pizzas and ran back to my car. The shitty thing wouldn't start until turning the key for the third time. I drove off the grass and back onto the dirt road, but I felt the car rocking about, shaking and bumping.
Why did you drop the pizzas? I don't get it. Why did you drop the pizzas?
Wasn't right.
He said, I'm gonna download Twitch. I mean, I'm not live on Twitch right now.
Before I started hearing a sharp scraping sound coming from outside. There was so much resistance that I couldn't even drive.
Are you in Jersey?
The car came to a stop.
Yeah, I'm in Jersey right now.
I got out of the car to check what the hell was wrong.
I'm live on Kick.
A chill ran up my spine as I began to feel like my heart was constantly skipping beats. My tires had been slashed and had completely fallen off the rim. Not just the front though. All 4 tires were slashed. I realized
Kick follow.
I was knocking on the door to that building. Instead of running, I got back in the car and locked the doors. I was so close to that building, I could practically see it from where I was, if it weren't for the trees blocking the view. I dialed 911 and explained everything to the operator. She told me the cops would be over as soon as possible and that I need to stay hidden. I asked her if it was advisable to stay in the car or run.
Kick follow.
She told me it would be best to stay in the car with the door locked. She asked me to stay on the line with her until the cops arrived. My whole body was shaking. In all directions, there was nothing but dark, seemingly endless
forest. Hunter, you saw this? It's the old lady one? Alright, bro, we saw it, bro.
Let's just watch it. To get there. I was not comfortable with sitting in that car.
Kick follow. Appreciate you, bro.
The next part, though, is what utterly destroyed me. It still shakes me to this day, and I hope nobody ever has to experience this kind of fear. As I was scanning all the windows, making sure nobody was outside, I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was the same
Kick
person.
follow. I'm about to turn that music down.
The same person I saw at that window. Eyes open wider than ever. I could see now that it was a woman, and I could ever so slightly see a smile begin to spread across her face.
That's when you run, my guy.
I opened my door and full-on sprinted into the woods, not
Why would you do
caring
that?
how much noise I made.
Does this car not work?
I was out of breath, which didn't take long, and I hid behind a giant log on the ground. I tried to cover my loud breathing with my hand as I waited and waited for what felt like hours.
Oh, his tires are slashed. Okay.
Until I finally heard sirens in the distance.
I didn't peep that.
I gathered up all the stamina I had left to run all the way back in the direction of the dirt road.
I didn't know his tires were slashed. I didn't know that.
Eventually, the glowing red and blue lights came into view, and I had never felt better in my life. They were parked in front of my car, investigating with flashlights. I came out yelling at them like a lunatic to help me. I fell to the floor and started to gag, almost
I saw this one.
throwing up
Yeah, I
from
remember
running
this one.
so much. They picked me up and began to question me, to which I explained everything to the best of my ability.
This isn't Mr. Nightmare,
One
though.
of the 2 cars drove over to the building, and the 2 officers began to search the building. They came back with
I'm not live
nothing
on Twitch,
except
but
for a
my
couple of
Twitch is
spiky
Hundo_Grand, but I'm live on Kick
These
and
objects
YouTube
were
right now.
exactly the same as the ones used to slash my tires. The cops guessed that it was some kind of sick, demented couple, being that I saw the woman, but unfortunately they were never found, and that still kills me to this day. I obviously quit my job right after that and started working at a local grocery store. I know that I'll never forget seeing that woman at the back of my car.
Alright, I mean, that was cool. That was alright, I guess. That was alright. I mean, but I've already watched that one. We're gonna go back to these ones because Dr. No Sleep. Dr. No Sleep. Let's see. 3 lockdown horror stories. I could go to Mr. Nightmare actually. Mr. Nightmare. Whoa, hold on. I want to see this one. These are true. All right, story 1.
A surprising amount of people have Ouija boards just sitting in their closets somewhere collecting dust, and most people probably have never even used them. I found out what Ouija boards are when I was 16, and when I asked my parents if we had one in our house, my mom told me yes, she did have one buried somewhere in the closet with all the board games. That closet was in the basement by the laundry room, the small closet with a bunch of my parents' old stuff.
But before we continue, everyone in TikTok live, make sure you go to my YouTube or my Kick. We are live on Kick and YouTube at Hundo_Grant for a better viewing experience. I'm thinking about y'all. If you want a better viewing experience and just support me, watch my content, keep on supporting me. If you're a fan of me, go to the Kick or YouTube. We'll be live on Twitch tonight though. All right.
I was intrigued to try using a Ouija board because I was slightly superstitious. I had my mom help me dig through this closet without disrupting the integrity and neatness.
Kick is at Hundo_Grant
in there. And lo and behold, eventually she finds this old dusty box that simply said Ouija and had 2 hands holding the piece that moves around the board called the planchette. The box was kind of falling apart on the edges, even though my mom said they'd only used it a couple times ever. The first thing I did was text a few of my friends to come use the Ouija board with me that weekend when I'd be home alone, to make it scarier.
Look at these pictures.
My friend Liam, who was 17, had a car, so he picked up my friend Jack and they came right over. It was like 9 p.m. It was dark out, obviously, and my parents were gone for a couple nights. My younger brother of 2 years, Adam, was also home, so I asked him to join as well. We were going to play on the floor in the loft, which was converted into my bedroom. We turned off the lights and then turned on a flashlight and put it on the floor in the corner of the room, pointed towards the board. All 4 of us sat on one side of the board and we held the planchette and started asking questions. None of us had ever done this before, so we asked basic questions. I said, if there's someone there, move the planchette. Then for the first time, it started to move to the word yes. Adam asked, how old are you? And the planchette moved from the number 6 to 7, 67. We looked at each other, and while I suspected one of them were moving it, and I'm sure the others did too, we all played along and didn't break immersion. We took turns asking questions. Eventually, I asked the board, are you a demon? And the planchette went to the word yes. At this point, we all laughed and broke immersion, knowing one of us was messing around. At that moment, the flashlight turned off, and all of us stopped laughing and got really scared. Who did that? Someone asked. But it was clearly none of us. The flashlight was all the way in the corner. I crawled to get it and kept pressing the button. It wouldn't turn back on. I turned on my bedside lamp, and I saw the freaked out expressions on my friend's and brother's face. I said that was the most terrifying moment for the battery to die. But also, part of me believed it wasn't a coincidence. We stopped playing after that moment, and we even left my room and went to the backyard just because we were all freaked out being in the house at that moment. I had to sleep in that room that night though, and when my friends left and Adam eventually went to sleep, I knew I had to as well. I put the Ouija board back in the box
Kick follow,
and brought
appreciate
it downstairs out of my room. I just felt weird sleeping in the same room as it that night. As soon as I turned off the light, I just tried to go to sleep right away, not sitting on my phone for an hour or whatever, like I usually do. As I was starting to finally drift off into a half-sleep state, something in my closet fell over. I immediately rose up and looked in the direction of the closet door. I flicked on the bedside lamp and walked over to the closet.
Why?
It's a small walk-in closet where I kept some of my clothes. There's a light switch on the outside of the closet that turned on a single light bulb inside of it. I flicked it on and looked down at the crack at the bottom of the door. There were what looked to be 2 shadows cast by feet on the other side of the door.
What?
As soon as I saw this, I started screaming at him and ran to his room. I explained to him what I just saw and led him to my room to show him. When he came to my room, the light in the closet was still on, but the shadows at the bottom of the door weren't there anymore. I opened the door, and there was nobody in the closet, but there was something on the floor. It was a wooden box that I made in arts and crafts that I would put childhood memorabilia in. It somehow fell over and the contents spilled onto the floor.
Bruh.
There is no draft in the world that would have knocked that over. It made no logical sense. I slept in my parents' bed that night and then the next, and for a week after that I slept in the spare bedroom. Eventually I would start sleeping in my own bed again, but I would never forget that night. I haven't touched a Ouija board since.
Dark to light, what's going on, baby? Story 2. If you're in the Twitch, if you're in the TikTok, bro, come to the Kick or YouTube at hundo_gram, bro. Kick or YouTube. Y'all know what Kick is? Search it up. I don't know what to help y'all. But come to the come to the Kick or YouTube. I see we have a lot in the YouTube. We only have like 30 something in the Kick. That's cool. But all right, let's get it. Story number 2. You said I don't give a fuck. Well, guess who's not watching this live anymore? You. I'm muting you.
I had never used a Ouija board until I was in my mid-20s.
I'm muting y'all.
It was never something that interested me. But my friend George was very briefly talking to this girl who was into that sort of thing. Her name was Mandy. She was into exploring abandoned and allegedly haunted places. One day he invited me to go with them and her friend to this apparently haunted abandoned house about a half-hour drive away. He guaranteed me the friend was cute in order to entice me to go. I didn't have anything going on that night, so I said, why not? We would be doing this late at night. George picked me up first around 11 p.m., and then we drove to pick up the girls from this park. I had already met Mandy once, but not her friend. Her friend Carly had red hair, a nose ring, and sleeve on her right arm. Mandy had already been to this house before.
W Kick follow,
She
appreciate
said it
you.
was high in activity, a term I'd never heard till that point, but obviously could put together what she meant. I smiled a bit as she said it because I honestly laughed to myself. I don't believe in the paranormal myself, so I found it a little humorous. Mandy brought this big bag with her, so during the drive I asked what's inside. And then she goes and pulls out this box, a Ouija board box, and then she pulls out a candle. Then George said, oh, that's the surprise. Apparently her surprise to George was that we would be using a Ouija board in this abandoned house. I'm gonna be honest, that didn't sound super fun to me, but I was there for the adventure. Mandy directed George where to park when we got close.
W Kick follow, my boy.
Dark street with no streetlights, with an open field on one side and trees on the other. The house driveway was gated off, so we had to walk from there. We walked through some woods that led us to the backyard of the house. From there, Mandy led us to the back window that she climbed through last time. It was a bit high up, so we had to help the girls up. Then we just climbed in ourselves, and we walked around the house for a bit. All the furniture was still inside, but it was just decrepit. It hadn't been lived in for probably decades. I don't scare easily, and I must admit, being in there at night was very eerie. It would probably be terrifying alone. It was dead silent besides our footsteps on the creaky floors. There were some old portraits of people hung on the wall. They looked like they were taken in the 50s, which made me wonder how old this house was and what was the story behind it. Most likely the couple living there died and there was no family left to claim the house. Mandy set up the board on the floor and she lit these 2 candles. I could tell she was really into this stuff. She took lead with this, asking a bunch of spiritual questions. The planchette piece didn't move for the first few questions as she kept asking, is anyone there, can anyone hear, etc. Eventually, it started to spell out the word hello. I laughed and looked at George, who laughed back. But the girls were serious, and
Why are
even
y'all
said
laughing?
stop
I would not
laughing.
laugh at that.
Out of respect,
I'd be terrified.
I did stop smiling and put a serious face on. Mandy asked, what's your name? And the planchette moved around the board slowly to spell out the name Gregory. She then asked, how long have you been
Gregory? Yeah, that sounds like a haunted name.
dead? And then it moved around to spell out 30 years. I didn't believe any of this for a second. I knew Mandy or Carly were doing this. This went on for some time, and we played along until there was a huge thump from upstairs in the house. We all jumped and let go of the planchette. George said, is someone up there? And Mandy insisted it could be Gregory. Mandy and Carly put their hands back on the planchette and asked, Gregory, did you make that sound? And George and I stopped her and said,
We're
we
gonna
need
say
to
no,
leave if
watch.
someone's upstairs. Then we watched as the planchette moved to the word yes.
W kick follow.
At this point, George and I were convinced.
Let's try to get to 100 followers. Let's try to get to 100 followers. We're at 44 followers on Kick.
Then we heard footsteps above us. There was no denying these sounds were footsteps. George and I agreed to go upstairs and check it out, expecting to find someone trying to prank us. The girls kept saying, no, come back down. We went up the extremely creaky steps and entered the first open door we found. It was a bedroom. The furniture and everything in the room was extremely decayed. And then there was this door, right in the corner of the room. Most likely a closet. It was cracked
Give it a kick
open,
follow.
and we whispered to each other that we thought we heard something in the closet. I put my finger up to my lips to tell him to be quiet, and we listened. When we heard a clear exhale behind the door, we both quickly left the room. We hurried downstairs, expecting to find the girls still in the living room, but they were gone. The candles, the Ouija board, everything. There was just darkness in the house now. We didn't even hear them sneak out. We left through the window again in a hurry and ran to the car. George tried calling Mandy's phone multiple times, but it went straight to voicemail every time.
I'm not on Twitch because of the policy change.
They were nowhere to be found either.
Can't stream on multiple platforms.
Straight to the car
I'll stream on
drove
Twitch
home.
tonight though.
George never heard from that girl again. He only hung out with her 2 times. He didn't know where she lived or anything. We did form our own crazy theory that they were in fact trying to trap us somehow, and the footsteps upstairs were from somebody they knew. It's also possible they never left the house, and that they were hiding somewhere inside. The more superstitious out there may believe that we did in fact speak to a spirit though, and something more supernatural was going on.
Can I ask y'all a question? Do y'all believe in ghosts? Like, do y'all actually believe in ghosts? And if y'all do believe in ghosts, that means y'all believe in an afterlife. Because, like, for ghosts to exist, there needs to be an afterlife, right? Because y'all believe in ghosts? No, yes, yeah, duh. I see, yeah, okay. Okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, I'm not gonna judge, but make sure I come to the Kick or YouTube. It's up to you. I'm trying to get to 100 followers on Kick so I can get affiliate. Thank you. I appreciate all y'all. Hey, thank you for the Kick follow. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to 100 followers on Kick. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. W Kick follow. It's good, Sunkiss. You look
In
new.
October of 2015, when I was a junior in high school, I was in my horror phase where I was obsessed with everything scary and supernatural.
What happened to Twitch? Twitch is fine. I'm cool on Twitch.
I was also reading a lot of scary stories about.
I'm just not streaming on there right now.
People's experiences with them. My curiosity was piqued.
Kick
so
Messenger. No,
Ouija board off
Kick.
Amazon.
Kick is right here.
And when it
Kick.
arrived, I waited till a night
At
my
Hundo
parents were
_gram,
not
bro.
home to
Kick
use
as
it.
in you're kicking a ball.
I convinced my little sister to try it with me. We were at the dining room table with the lights dimmed, both of us holding the planchette. I asked the board some questions, and my sister and I both laughed because it was kind of awkward and funny. I started to move the piece around, trying to creep out my sister, but she knew it was me doing it. After a few minutes of doing this, we were starting to get bored, and my sister wanted to stop. I said let's try for a few more minutes. After a little bit more waiting for the planchette to move from some unseen entity, we decided to give up. My sister went to her room after this, and I went to mine. I looked up more Ouija board stories online and kept reading people's experiences with them, and then I looked up why it didn't work for us. Other people had said their first time using Ouija boards nothing had happened, so I decided I would try again. That night around 1 a.m., when my sister was already asleep, I went back down to the dining room and dimmed the lights again. I once again tried to use the Ouija board, asking similar questions as a few hours ago, just in a lower voice to not wake up my sister. I held the planchette with both hands, waiting for it to move, but it never did.
Wait for the Kick
Instead,
follow.
I heard sounds from upstairs, like soft footsteps.
But that sounded like it was coming from my house.
Could've
I'm
been
not
my
gonna lie.
sister.
That scared me.
She might have heard me down here. The footstep-type sounds were followed by a muffled female voice. It didn't sound quite like my sister, though, and the voice was coming from directly above me. The room above the dining room was our older brother's room, who was away at college. My sister wouldn't have been in there. I went up the stairs quietly, and I heard the voice getting louder as I got closer to my brother's room. It was coming from in there. I was curious if my sister was playing a prank on me, changing her voice to sound lower to scare me. I got to the door and put my ear up against it. I heard the voice of what sounded like an older woman. I wasn't sure how my sister could be doing a voice like that. At first I didn't know what was being said, until I realized that
We're halfway to 100 followers on Kick, bro.
"Grandma's here, Georgie," over and over. It was the voice of my dead grandma. I felt every hair in my body stand up. I opened the door and turned on the light, and no one was inside. The voice had stopped. I ran to my room and shut the door and locked it and curled up under the covers. I felt the whole room spinning as I couldn't form any rational thoughts of what just happened. It was too vivid to have imagined it. When I calmed down, I did a prayer before going to sleep. Or at least trying to go to sleep. I was awake all night. I still remember this night just as vividly.
That prayer ain't gonna help you.
8 years later.
That prayer not gonna help you, bro. Come on, bro. Let's be honest. Four creepy true gas station horror stories. Okay, go watch this one. I'm cool with it. Still Mr. Nightmare? I bet. It's not copyright, are they? I don't know.
Years ago, I did the night shift at a gas station because I was strapped for cash and needed a second job. I worked the night shift there for a few months. It was around my second or third month that this guy started regularly coming in really late at night, always around 2 a.m. He was about 6 feet tall. He had long, stringy hair. He'd always come in, buy a tall boy, and leave. But after a while, he one night asked me my name. I told him my name, and he just kept saying, "Rob, I like that," as he'd laugh to himself. He cracked open the tall boy he just bought and walked out of the store talking to himself. He was clearly hammered. This was the night I was curious to see if he had been drinking and driving every single time that he'd come to the store. I watched as he left, and he walked out of sight off the gas station property.
W Kick follow.
That would make sense.
Appreciate you, my boy.
He never once bought gas anytime he came in. He'd always just buy alcohol. I'd seen him just about every night after that for a while. He'd come in, some nights noticeably drunker than others, and sometimes he'd just lean on one of the shelves for a while and not say anything. He'd always greet me with a "Hey Rob" anytime he'd come in. One night he was just leaning on a shelf, drinking the tall boy he just bought, not saying anything, just staring at a wall. I asked him for his name finally. He looked at me, took about 5 seconds, and said, "Bob." Now, I always felt like Bob is a go-to fake name when you're lying about your name. I wondered if the first thing that came to mind for him was Bob because it rhymes with my name, but I went with it. I said, "So Bob, where do you work?" He laughed so loud it actually startled me. He said he doesn't work. He said the government completely fucked him out of his job. I got the vibe he was wasted again. He looked at me with an angry-looking face, but interestingly said, "I like you, Rob. You seem like you know what you're doing." I didn't know what that meant, but he walked out of the store right after that. I didn't see him again for a while. I'd say over a week passed, which for a regular like him was a while. Bob always gave me this off, mildly creepy vibe. I figured he was usually drunk, but something was obviously wrong in his personal life. Well, one very stormy night, with less customers than usual, likely because of the storm, I heard the ding of the front door as someone entered, and I swear before looking I imagined it to be Bob, and when I looked, I was shocked to see it was actually him, but it was a much scarier version of Bob. He was completely soaked. He wasn't wearing a rain jacket or using an umbrella. He was just in a dark shirt and jeans. His long hair was drenched, and he was just standing by the door looking straight ahead at the wall. He looked like he was angry, and yet his mind was elsewhere, like his thoughts were running. The way he was standing there blankly, staring at nothing, completely soaked, it was freaking me out. I said, "Bob, are you okay?" He didn't turn his head or move. He stood still and said, "I did something really bad." I asked, "What did you do?" He then looked at me, said, "I need somewhere to hide," then walked past me at the register towards the little restroom hallway. He disappeared behind the wall, and I heard one of the doors open and close. I was genuinely getting uncomfortable with Bob now. I didn't enjoy his presence whenever he was in the store.
Hold on.
And tonight, something was extra off about him. He seemed like a zombie, and that "I did something really bad" comment was incredibly creepy. Some time passed, and Bob never came out from the bathroom. I assumed he was wasted again, probably passed out or puking. Either way, I didn't want to intervene. And then, the next thing I remember, the lights to the place cut out, and the store was completely dark. I was standing in a pitch-dark gas station during a major storm with an unhinged drunk man. I used the flashlight from behind the counter to make my way towards the back of the store by the inventory storage and the panel board. The door to the back was in the same little hallway as the restrooms. As I walked by the 2 restroom doors, both of them were ajar, and Bob wasn't in either of them. I went through the door to the back. I was planning on going straight to the panel board, but I stopped when I heard a slight dripping in the room somewhere, and the squeaking of wet shoes. My heart sank into
Sorry
my
about
stomach.
that, guys.
I said Bob in a very weak and scared voice.
Had to feed my little doggy.
Right to my left. When I pointed my
heard
flashlight
the dog
in that
barking?
corner,
Oh my gosh.
there was Bob, with his eyes opened wide, and he lunged at me and started screaming, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." I pushed him off of me as he was clawing at my back. I ran back through the door to the front of the store. He didn't follow me. I grabbed my rain jacket and ran straight to my car. I sat in my car as I dialed 911 and spoke to an operator. I stayed on the line with her, and it didn't take long for a couple police officers to arrive and go inside with me. Bob was still hiding in the back room, huddled in a corner, apparently like some rabid creature. His pupils were huge, I only noticed it then. He was on something. They took him to the station after I told them that he lunged at me, threatened to kill me, and stated that he did something really bad earlier. I found out over a month
We got
later
66
that
viewers.
this Bob
I'm
guy's real name
W.
was Martin.
How we got
He
66
had
viewers
brutally
but
beaten his
52
ex-wife
followers?
to death.
If y'all don't follow
And it
me up,
happened
bro,
that
on
same
Kick,
night
bro,
that
stop
he
playing
came into the
around.
gas station. Long story short, I never wanted to work another night shift at any job ever again after this night.
I'm not gonna lie. Damn, I missed that whole story, bro. I'm not even gonna. I missed that whole story. Dang, bro. But my fault, yo. Make sure I come over to the Kick or YouTube at Hundo_Gram, bro. We're live on Kick or YouTube, all right? We're almost at 75 followers. So W. Sorry, you said, bro, why are you talking so loud? It's my stream. But all right, bro. Let me go. Let me just start it up, bro. Follow me on Kick or YouTube at Hundo_Gram. You said Bob was a dub? Nah, yeah. I didn't even watch the story, so I have no idea who you're talking about. W Kick follow. Appreciate y'all.
I've done a lot of night driving in my life. Not for work or anything. My old friend group and I would always just stay out till crazy hours when we were in our late teens and early 20s. I guess you could say we were the losers. We thought staying out till 5 a.m. every weekend hanging at parks or in parking lots was cool. Looking back, it was a stupid waste of time. But basically for that reason, I've done my fair share of driving at off hours in the night. And usually that's when the drunkos and crazy people are on the roads. It was a weekend night. It had to be approaching 4 in the morning. I wanted to go home. I drove one of my friends home from the park we were hanging out at. And before driving myself home, I had to stop for gas. I used to like getting gas at night because there would be no other cars in the way. I pulled into one of my usual gas stations not far from my parents' house. As I was walking to the building to pay, there was a short guy wearing a hood walking past me. He stopped in his tracks and stared me down as I walked past. I said, "What?" as I kept walking. He said nothing, so I kept walking.
Okay.
Typical crackhead. I went inside the building to pay the attendant for my gas. I also bought a lottery ticket while I was there. I came back outside and started to fill up. I looked around, and as expected, it was a ghost town at this hour. Once done, I got back in the car and started driving home. Halfway home, I heard something behind me, in the car. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was someone in the rear seat looking back at me. I let out a scream so loud I probably almost collapsed my lungs. I slammed on the brakes and
W
screamed,
Kick
"Get
follow.
out."
Appreciate you, my
It was
boy.
the dude from the gas station.
If you're in the
I
Kick
opened my
chat, make sure you
doors and
follow me
started
on Kick,
screaming
bro.
help,
If you're in
knowing
Kick.
at least a couple people would come out from their houses.
Also,
Sure enough, a couple
spam the
houses'
letter
porch
R
lights
if
turned
you're in
on,
there.
and I saw some doors opening. The guy got out of
If
my
you're in the
car
YouTube chat,
and
spam
said
the letter
I could've
Y.
slit your throat. As
If you're
some
in the
people came
TikTok
out of their
chat, spam the letter
houses, he
E.
started to run away down the street. I didn't chase after him. A couple people came over to me and asked if I was alright, and I told them how a stranger was in my back seat. By now, the guy was out of sight. I wasn't about to start driving around after a crackhead. I thanked the people who came out and continued my drive home, making sure I didn't see him anywhere the rest of the drive. That was the scariest experience of my life.
I see y'all all spam it. That's so crazy. Story number 3. We starting story number 3 now. Let's get it. I see y'all all spamming y'all letters. Let's go. R, E, and Y. Let's get it. Make sure y'all come to the Kick or YouTube. I'm giving y'all options. Come to the Kick or YouTube chat, you know, before we start these next stories. And yeah, let's get it. It's about to go crazy. At Hundo_Grand. I'm not live on Twitch right now because I'm trying to grind on Kick so I can get affiliate, because Kick pays better than Twitch. Sorry, it just does. But yeah, follow me on Kick or YouTube. You can still follow me on Twitch, but I'm not live on there right now. So just follow me on Kick at Hundo_Grand. All right, let's get it.
This event happened in the mid-60s in the Atlanta area. At that time, I was about 8 or 9 years old. My father taught school in a suburb of Atlanta that was some distance from where our home was located. I went to the same school where he taught, so I rode with him every day. However, we had to get up very early each morning and head out before the sun was up. We always stopped several mornings each week to top off on gas at a small, independent station. We were often the first car there shortly after the station opened.
W Kick
days,
follow.
Everything was full service. There was a booth with an attendant who would come out and fill your tank, wash your windows, etc. He would always be carrying a wad of bills in his pocket and a device on his belt from which he counted out coins. Behind the pumps were tiny bathrooms. I would often use the bathroom on mornings that we stopped there, as it was a fairly long drive. One morning, we again arrived before dawn to find the station completely deserted. It was totally quiet other than the traffic sounds going by. There was no sign of an attendant, either in the booth or anywhere else around the station. My father blew the car horn once, then again a few more times, but there was no response. We discussed what might be the problem. My father first suggested that perhaps the attendant might be in the bathroom, but when he still did not appear, my father said that maybe the attendant had experienced car trouble and had not been able to make it to work on time. We continued to wait for several minutes. No other cars pulled in. I told my father I needed to use the bathroom and put my hand on the car door handle to get out, but he told me that we could not wait any longer and I could use the bathroom at the next station we came to. So we left, still wondering what happened. A day or two later, my father was reading the local newspaper when I heard a loud exclamation from him. He excitedly told my mother and I about a small article which stated that the body of a gas station attendant had been discovered with multiple stabs stuffed into the men's bathroom of the station. It was the station we always went to. The station attendant. The article said the motive appeared to be robbery, as all cash and coins were missing. Early in the morning, the total amount of money was probably not a lot. The article gave no hint as to what amount was taken, but either way, that didn't stop the killer. I've often wondered how I would have been affected at that young age if I had insisted on going to the bathroom at that station and had opened the door to discover the body of the murdered attendant. We never went to that gas station again.
Story number 4, final story on Mr. Nightmare. Hey, make sure y'all follow me on Kick at Hundo_Grand_, Hundo_Grand. I said Hundo_Grand_. I'm such an idiot, bro. Oh, I'm such an idiot, bro. Follow me on YouTube or Kick at Hundo_Grand. You feel me? Let's get it. Let's go, man. If you support me, bro. If you support me, so I can keep on doing these lives and keep on living. Literally staying alive. But yeah. At story number 4, let's get it, bro.
This took place when I was 25. I was driving from North to South Texas, and due to my work schedule, I could only do this late at night. I was on Route 281 for much of the drive, and at these late hours, it was an easy, straight drive. I just had to keep myself awake. I was already kinda shot from work, and then getting on the road right after was brutal. I had to keep making stops for coffee at random gas stations just to keep myself going. I think it was my 3rd time starting to feel a little sleepy, and on top of that, I needed to fill up my tank as well. I pulled into the first gas station I could find on the desolate side roads. I can't remember what kind of gas station it was, maybe a Sunoco or Shell. There was one other car in the parking lot. I parked next to one of the pumps and went inside. There were 2 people in the shop. the cashier, and then I noticed another guy pacing down the aisles. I went to the coffee maker and poured myself a cup. The guy who was pacing around came up to me and said, "Careful, it's hot." And then he laughed. It was a piss-poor, creepy, unnecessary attempt at starting a conversation that I didn't bite at. I was not in the mood. I didn't reply, and I took the coffee to the cashier where I paid for it as well as for the gas. The guy came up behind me while I was paying and said, "I really like that top." I said thank you just loud enough for him to hear. He followed it up with, "Where are you heading off to so late at night?" I was so annoyed by this point, I firmly asked him to leave me alone. The cashier was some 40-something-year-old Hispanic man. I wasn't sure how much English he understood, or if he was even reading the situation that was happening in front of him, but he was also a smaller, shorter man, and it was doubtful he was going to step in at all. The man behind me said calm down after I asked him to leave me alone. I left the shop without saying another word and went to my car. I heard the door open again a few seconds after I left the shop. I was next to my car now, preparing to fill up the tank. As gas started pumping into my car, I heard his footsteps on the concrete over on the other side of the pumps. Then they stopped. When the footsteps stopped, I glanced over, and I noticed him, creepily standing on the other side of the pump I was using. He was quite literally just standing there watching me.
Quite literally.
I wasn't filling up gas. There wasn't even a car there. I started considering grabbing my pepper spray from my center console. The guy said, "Are you alone?" When he asked that, the gravity of the situation escalated greatly. I replied, "No, my
Love you too,
boyfriend
Asia.
is in the car." I opened the door and quickly grabbed the pepper spray from the center console.
Says it does mirror the live
I
stop.
grabbed it and
The
held
live
it
did
at my
not stop.
side, pretending to still be focused on pumping the gas. The man was inching his way around the gas pump, like he was coming around to my side. He said, "I don't see anyone in the car." I
It's
pulled
just
out
you,
the
I don't
pepper
know.
spray and aimed it up at the man, and he laughed and backed away. He said he was just trying to make conversation. He was walking backwards with his focus locked onto me still. I was just about done pumping gas. Then I felt and heard a clank. The gas stopped pumping. My tank was full. I had like $6 worth of change. I had to go back inside to get it. The man was in between the shop and I. I had to make a choice. I made the decision to get my change. I had my arm up in the air still, pointing the pepper spray can at him. He continued to back away, chuckling. When it was safe, I turned my back to him and entered the shop and asked the cashier for change. I told the cashier that that man was making me really uncomfortable, but it seemed like he didn't really understand what I was saying. Once I got my change, I looked out the glass door into the parking lot before leaving. I didn't see that man out there. I was scared to go out there. Like, what if you were hiding somewhere? I stepped outside in front of the shop. I didn't leave that little sidewalk. I just stayed there, looking around. That man was gone, out of sight, which meant he was absolutely hiding. Eventually, a pickup truck pulled into the parking lot and pulled next to one of the pumps. A large man with a beard stepped out, and I went over to him asking him for help. I asked him to check if there was a man hiding behind my car. He was confused, but he did it for me. He got to the other side of my car, and he yelled, "What are you doing?" And there went that creepy man, hurrying away from behind my car. He started to run away into the darkness surrounding the gas station. I thanked that man so much, and he said in his thick southern accent to be careful out there. I left that parking lot in a hurry, and I continued the rest of my drive. That creepy man was 100% waiting to pounce as soon as I unlocked my car doors, and that's really disturbing to me.
Bro, what? That's a true story. These are true stories too. I want to find like, can I find Mort's not good. Not gonna lie, Mort is not good. I want to find these are good, but like it's copyright, so I can't really watch it. Bro, the live stopped. The live did not stop. What are you talking about? The live did not stop, bro. I'm literally still looking at it, bro. The live did not stop, bro. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop lying. At YouTube. Yo, YouTube. Did the live stop, bro? Thank you. Stop. Bro, Kaya, shut up. Dr. No Sleep. We can go to Dr. No Sleep. Go to Dr. No Sleep, bro. I asked YouTube, not TikTok. Why y'all answering?
Doctor Nicely.
3 lockdown
The
horror
red
stories.
phone on my
I
desk
bet.
began to ring around noon the day the plant burned to the ground.
All right, but anyway, if you're on the TikTok live, make sure you come to the kick. We're almost at 100 followers, bro. Let's get to 100 followers so I can get affiliate. At Hundo_Grand on the kick. Follow me on kick at Hundo_Grand, bro. At Hundo_Grand.
I had worked as head of security for Caverna Cattle Processing for half a decade, and it had never rung.
Thank you for
My
following me on
heart
the
dropped
kick.
as I considered
Appreciate
the
you.
loss of life that would follow the metallic jingling. I picked it up and held it to my ear.
Code red?
I asked, voice shaking.
Confirmed.
Said a man from the other end.
Follow Tier 5 protocol. This is a total loss. Start the process immediately.
If the TikTok's lagging, just go over to the kick.
I swallowed hard and sat the phone carefully back into the cradle. Not that it mattered. It would be a charred pile of plastic before the day was out. I lifted the plexiglass cover on the wall above my desk and pushed the yellow
W
button
Hundo, you already
labeled
know.
Slaughterhouse.
That Echo, what's going on,
A
baby?
secondary red button flashed below it.
I love Hundo.
Sweat poured down my
What's up,
face
man?
as doubt swept through my mind. I wanted to think it wasn't too late, but I knew it was. I pushed the flashing red button to finalize the operation. The slaughterhouse workers were all dead anyway. Looking at the security monitors for the slaughterhouse, I could see the staff scrambling toward the doors. As soon as I hit the secondary button, the magnetic locks engaged, and there would be a mechanical voice playing through the overhead speakers announcing the lockdown. It would tell some soothing lie that normal operations would resume any moment, but they knew better. In a dead-end town
Mr.
like
Waffle,
this,
what's up, man?
people flocked to Caverna for decent pay and dependable hours. A few years in, and most of them even accepted the twisted nature of what we actually did. Most of them probably lied and told themselves nothing bad could really happen. For a few brief moments before they died, they understood it had all been a comforting lie. I turned back to my computer and entered the command to announce the facility evacuation for all of the other floors. Scanning the bank of monitors, I could see the other workers cease their duties and begin to move in an orderly fashion for the nearest exit. The alert sounded like a fire alarm, so they would move a safe distance away from the building before Tier 5 protocol finished. The waves of other workers were still marching out, but I turned my head back to the bank of slaughterhouse monitors. In the brief moments I had looked away, nearly a third of the cameras had gone offline. I knew the things were destructive, but I had no idea how quickly they had moved or how they had escaped containment. On one of the screens, a horrible image flickered lifelessly. In front of one of the exit doors, there was a pile of people. Parts of them.
Horror
anyway.
Shorts literally is
I
copyright.
had never been
but all
more
right.
grateful that the Caverna Cattle Processing Plant owners had never transitioned the old cameras to color. My imagination made the scene bad enough. I turned back toward the other monitors to see a few slow movers still shuffling around inside the plant. There wasn't much time left before I would have to enter the final protocol command. My face was burning with anger at the stragglers. I picked up the system-wide mic on my desk and held it to my mouth.
Get the hell out!
I shouted.
The building is on fire, and I can't leave the security booth until the place is cleared!
The last few slow-moving employees unexpectedly picked up their pace and moved toward the exits. I breathed a sigh of relief as my eyes darted from monitor to monitor. All of the floors, other than the slaughterhouse, were clear. I turned to the row of buttons and pushed the yellow and red sequences to finalize the order. Clicks reverberated through the facility as the magnetic locks engaged. The things were
Bro,
trapped
Horror
inside,
Shorts Party is
and the hidden
copyright.
self-destruct
Literally, it
system
says it
would
on his
engage in
page.
just a few moments. Stealing one more look back at the slaughterhouse monitors, I finally saw the things. Bovine heads extended from their serpentine necks.
Whoa, what is
They rolled
that?
side to side, bobbing above their arachnoid bodies. Most of them had 8 eyes, but a few had 10 or more. The hooves came to a sharp point. Bloated udders randomly spotted their body, dripping some liquid too thick to be milk. Gore dripped from their slack mouths. They skittered across the slaughterhouse
Whoa, what am I
floor,
looking at, bro?
tracking down the last few survivors. Every few moments, another camera would go offline. I never understood why they destroyed the cameras. Did they know I was watching them? Could they think? Were they more than just some monstrosity the Caverna Cattle Processing Company had developed to cut costs? The damn things grew too rapidly. They were too dangerous. Surely Caverna knew it. Sure, they tasted like beef, but I couldn't help but be sickened by the monstrosities that had overwhelmed the slaughterhouse floor. Dozens of people inside were dead, all in the name of higher profit. My computer monitor began to flash rapidly, counting down the moments until the incendiary devices would cause the plant to erupt in flames. That was the protocol. Genetically engineer monsters that taste like beef. If they break containment, destroy the plant
thank you.
and any staff trapped inside. Insurance would pay to rebuild in a new town. The families would get a meager payout. Caverna would just move on, open a new plant, breed more creatures. Next time you're at the grocery store, skip the Caverna meat section. It may be a price you like, but you get what you pay. Also, it turns out that most of you guys who watch me aren't actually subscribed. So if you like the content and want to support the channel, go ahead and hit the bell. It's free.
All right, bro. Story number two. Doomsday bunker. If you're in the TikTok, bro, switch right over to Kick, bro. Switch right over to Kick. Thank you for everyone that's in my YouTube chat, but I'm live on Kick and YouTube. But I want y'all to go over to Kick because I'm just trying to get affiliate. So switch right over to Kick at @hundo_grand. If you're in the YouTube, please help with this. You can go right back to YouTube, but just follow me on Kick. I'm just trying to get to affiliate real fast. And yeah, at @hundo_grand. Y'all said nah. Y'all not gonna do it. Y'all not gonna do it, bro. No. How about this? How about I unstream on TikTok live? How about I unstream on TikTok live? Y'all not gonna do it? I'll just unstream on TikTok live. It's uncool. It's all good. I'm just kidding.
The screen of my tablet danced.
Y'all saying no, but I could do that. I definitely could do that.
1,000 different sequences that I
I'm being
didn't
disrespectful,
understand.
all right? Because I will do
It
that.
didn't matter anyway. All of the data presented on the screen wasn't for me to check anyway. Technological mumbo jumbo, all of it. The only thing I cared about was the little green bar that was filling up at the bottom.
I just need like
82%.
a couple more followers and I can get affiliate.
It would have been my last job for a month before I flew home for some rest and relaxation. I had worked for Midwest Structural Security for a decade, and it was the cushiest gig I ever had. Fallout shelters weren't exactly all the rage, but they were becoming more common with every passing year. Natural disasters used to be our bread and butter, but it seemed like the world was falling to shit, politically speaking.
What?
Wealthy folks couldn't get enough of our underground, home away from home setups. That inspection was my third one that week. A crew would spend months, sometimes even years, carefully building the state-of-the-art bunkers. After they were finished,
I promise you,
I
TikTok
would
Live
show
does
up
not
and do
support
the
me.
final check.
It
Full
doesn't.
inspection, top to bottom. No system went unnoticed. My final step before the official sign-off on a job site was to hook my tablet up to the main computer and run a final diagnostic check. Every mechanical and computer-controlled system would go through an intense diagnostic and produce a finalized report. Easy money, if not a bit time-consuming. I didn't mind.
You said
that.
I ain't supporting this random
The
stranger. I
bunkers
just want to
were more
see.
luxurious
Yeah, like I
than
don't
any
see that.
place I had
Yeah,
ever
how about you
lived.
get muted, bro?
Most were identical in structure, but the interior design was picked out by the owners. Their own special little touch, I
That
guess.
literally makes me want to unstream.
Knowing it was my
on,
last site before vacation,
on TikTok, bro.
it
I don't
seemed
streaming
like
on
the
TikTok.
tablet diagnostic was running slower than ever. I hadn't looked at the screen in over 5 minutes, but when I looked again, it had only moved up 1%. The oversized feather couch in the bunker's living room area was comfortable, though.
This came from YouTube.
It had
W.
crossed my mind
Appreciate
to
you, my
set
boy.
an alarm on my cell phone and take a quick snooze. I was reaching into my
not
pocket to pull out
K-I-K,
my
it's
phone
K-I-C-K.
when a
I
thick
literally have it
peppering
written
of
down
concrete
in little
erupted,
text, but-
hitting the side of my face. The crumbling of stone and squeal of rebar filled the inside of the concrete box as I sprung from the couch. My tablet screen was flashing red, and I began to run for the exit hatch.
W kick file, thank
The
you.
PA system above roared to life.
Warning, warning. Unexpected breach detected. Emergency lockdown mode commencing. Stand clear of all exits. Bulkheads will secure in 5 seconds.
As I listened to the announcement,
Came from
I kept
TikTok.
running
Hey,
toward
thank
the
you, Mr.
exit
Waffle.
hatch. There was no chance I would make it, but my legs continued pumping nonetheless. My mind was still reeling as I tried to figure out what the hell had caused the structural damage to the barrier wall. I was just in time to watch the damn thing seal shut. The hydraulic door system hissed and groaned as the heavy steel plate shifted
W kick
into
follow,
place.
appreciate you.
A dull thud and small shock passed through the bunker as the barrier settled into its frame. Having accepted
Yeah,
that I was trapped
kick is just
inside
like
the
Twitch, but
bunker,
it pays way
I
better.
pulled my phone from my pocket to make contact with someone from the company. The unexplained structural failure needed to be
If
reported.
you're already in the kick chat,
and
just
someone
follow me.
needed to come to perform an emergency
I have
override to
79
get me
viewers,
out.
and it says I only
It
have
would take
73
hours
followers.
for me to do from
There's
the
something
inside,
wrong with that number.
And there was no way of telling if the structure was preparing for collapse. I looked at my phone. No reception. A moment of panic settled in before I came to my senses. Each one of the bunkers we constructed came with a satellite phone communication system. I began to walk down the cement steps into the main area to check the link up when another explosion of cement sprayed just a few feet ahead of me,
Thank you, Loop
followed
Gaming.
by what felt like an earthquake. My feet shook beneath me, and I tumbled down the last few steps. I threw my arms out in front of me, but it was too late. All of my weight came crashing down, causing the side of my head to slam against the thin carpet covering the cement floor. My vision wavered, and everything went black. I'm not sure how long I was out, but when I came to, chunks of concrete and twisted lines of rebar were scattered across the floor. Something was scraping across the concrete foundation, mimicking the sound of nails on a chalkboard. I lifted my head to find the source of the noise and nearly pissed my pants when I saw it. Bright rays of sunlight were piercing through a hole in the 4-foot thick wall. Dirt and crumbled concrete were sliding in from the opening, pushed by an enormous white hand. From the tip of the talons to the bend of the wrist, it had the texture of porous bone. Deep dimples in the ivory claw were filled with dirt. The massive hand scratched at the floor, feeling around as though it were a bear reaching into a log, searching for an easy meal. In my daze, I managed to push myself back a few feet, just as one of the claws sank deeply into the concrete, where I had been only moments before. A deep wound in the concrete trailed back to the hole as the colossal hand pulled itself out. The ground rumbled as something unimaginably massive moved overhead. The quakes gradually grew less in intensity before vanishing altogether. I remained in the bunker for hours
W kick
after
follow,
that,
appreciate you.
afraid that the thing was outside.
I just followed you on kick.
Maybe it
I'm gonna
was
go
just
see you there.
waiting
Thank
to
you.
see if I came out. My stomach turned with the thought of seeing what was on the other end of that
I have no idea
grotesque
where the
hand.
story's going.
The daylight drifted into twilight, and still, I sat frozen in the same spot. My stomach growled for food, yet nothing could pry me away.
So don't
It
listen to
wasn't
them kids,
until the
man.
next morning when
Thank you, Hundo
sunlight
fan.
began to pour in through the shaft before I finally decided to make my escape. I clambered up through the hole the thing had gouged into the bunker and poked my head
TikTok.
above
Thank
ground
you, Hundo
level.
fan.
My truck was ripped to shreds and scattered around the field. A line of trenches were grooved into the ground as far as my eyes could see. Some hellish trail left by whatever nightmare creature had burrowed its way in. I guess those bunkers
I'm not
couldn't
reading.
keep
I'm not gonna
everything
read the
out.
TikTok chat. They've just pissed me off. If you're in the TikTok chat, I'm not reading it. Just move over to the Kick or YouTube. A lot of y'all are just being toxic for no reason. I've done nothing to y'all. At Hundo_Grand, that's my Kick or YouTube. Just move over to the YouTube or Twitch at Hundo_Grand. Thank you for the Twitch follow, but I'm not live on Twitch. I appreciate that, but I'm not live on Twitch. My Kick is at Hundo_Grand. I can't provide a link to the Kick. They don't have that thing yet, so I don't know how. But at Hundo_Grand. But yeah, I don't know. You said who's being rude? There was a whole bunch of people being rude. I'm not even dealing with that. I just won't read the TikTok chat. I'll only read the Kick chat and the YouTube chat. I'm literally hiding.
I woke
the
up to
TikTok
my
chat. I'm
wife
not even reading
sobbing
it.
gently in the bed beside me.
Like I can't even see what y'all
Our
are
tiny
saying.
passenger cabin on the cruise liner acted like an echo chamber, turning her gentle weeping into echoed cries. When I opened my eyes,
I stream every day just
the
for people to
soft light
disrespect
from
me.
under
That's
the
so
door
mean. That's rude.
illuminated the room in a light that sent thin shadows crawling up the walls. My eyes focused in the darkness to see Nancy sitting up in bed. She was clutching the phone from our bedside table in her hands. A soft voice was speaking through the earpiece, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. Nancy, I said in a gentle tone, is everything
What's good,
all right?
Deadpool?
I don't know,
Deadpool
Marvin.
Twitch? Nah, I'm gonna
She
stream on.
replied,
I'm gonna stream on
I'm
Twitch later.
scared. Who was on the phone? I asked, pushing myself
I'm
up
sorry
into
for
a
you,
sitting
Huncho.
position.
I love you. It's all
Something
good,
wrong with
CS.
the kids back home? Nancy's muffled crying morphed into defined wails when I mentioned the children. That cruise was the first trip we'd taken without the kids. It was our 10th anniversary celebration.
Thank you for the
and
kick
we
follow.
decided to make it just the two of us. I'm glad we didn't bring them. Who knows if they would have made it back home.
Every day you make me smile. Thank
Can
you,
you
Hundo.
tell me what's wrong,
Hundo
sweetie?
fan.
I asked again. She opened her mouth to answer, but nothing
I'm not letting them
but
win. I'm
mournful
literally not letting
sounds
them win.
came out.
I'm just not reading the TikTok chat.
I tried to give her a minute to collect herself, but her composure didn't return.
My name's not. Also, it's not
Gently,
Huncho. It's
I
Hundo.
pulled the phone from her hand and held it to my ear.
This is the Sea Lantern Cruise Line Information Center. We regret to inform you that multiple cases of norovirus have been reported aboard the ship. At this time, we will be instituting a
good,
lockdown
hello?
measure to slow the spread of the infection.
I mean, I love
All
Hundo.
passengers are to remain in their rooms until inspected by SLCL
Same
medical
character?
personnel. If you are suffering from vomiting, diarrhea, or cramping, please report this to medical staff during your checkup. You will be reimbursed for any and all ports of call canceled due to this unfortunate event. Thank you for choosing Sea Lantern Cruise
I literally
Line.
just won't read a
This is
disrespectful.
Sea Lantern
Oh, my
up
fault.
now.
I literally just won't
This
read a
message
disrespectful
will play
chat.
on our
I just
loop.
won't do that.
This is Sea Lantern Cruise Line.
I leaned across Nancy
I'm dead
and
about
set
to end the
phone
live.
back
Like,
on
I'm
the
going
lap,
to end that TikTok.
pulling her close. I squeezed her
And
tightly
I
to
don't
my
handle
side
disrespect. Like, I
and
don't
felt
like
her
that.
body
I
shudder.
don't care. I don't care how much numbers
She
I have on
clutched
that
my
app.
leg.
I don't care. I
and
will
could
literally
feel
end it.
her nails begin to sink into my skin. Easy, Nancy, I proclaimed as I reached down to check if she had broken my skin. What has you so worked up? Norovirus is no big deal. Nancy sat up and turned her head toward me.
I'm going to end it right now, actually.
Even in the dim light,
Because, like, that was just,
I could see the fear in
just
her eyes.
wrong.
Her jaw quivered as
Like, it's just wrong, bro. I'm literally about to end the TikTok live right now. Like, it's just wrong. Like, I don't understand why be disrespectful. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the majority of people are saying, like, oh, we're not gonna follow you on Kick, bro. We don't care, bro. Just play the video. Like, bro, that's disrespectful, bro. I'm about to end the live right now, bro. I'm sorry. I'll come back tonight. I'll come back later, but y'all just pissed me off. I'm gonna go to the gym and, like, work that off, because, like, that was weird. And don't blame me. That was y'all. For the people that weren't being toxic, just come over to the YouTube and Kick, and we'll finish it off on there. But I'm not finishing it off on TikTok, bro. That just pissed me off, bro. A lot of people are just being disrespectful, and I don't like disrespect. I'm someone who, you know, you have to give respect to give it. Like, you have to give me respect to, you know, give it. And right now, I'm not respecting the TikTok chat right now. So I'm gonna get back on it tonight. But literally just go on TikTok. Yeah, just TikTok. Just come to the Kick or YouTube if you want to come. And yeah, I don't understand what's the toxicity for. I'm leaving. All right, I'll talk to y'all, bro. See y'all. I'm sorry for everyone that wasn't being toxic. I literally know it wasn't everyone, but, like, I just saw a majority of comments that were being disrespectful, and I'm like, I'm not doing that tonight. I'm literally not doing that. I don't have to. Like, I literally don't have to. But all right, bye though. I'll talk to y'all. Yeah, I had to end that, bro. Like, I don't know why they were being disrespectful, bro. I don't understand what the problem was for being disrespectful. They can just come over to the Kick. They can literally just come over to the Kick.
she tried to find
I'm not ending the
No, it
YouTube.
isn't a big deal, Marvin.
I'm gonna finish it off
She
right here.
replied shakily.
We went on a cruise with the kids 2 years back. There was a big outbreak of norovirus then, too. The ship didn't go on lockdown.
W Kick follow.
I ran my hands through my hair. She was right. The captain had made a few announcements over the loudspeaker of the ship.
What's good,
But
Ali
life
Masa?
had gone on as normal. A few of the
I
onboard
can see your
bars and
comments.
restaurants had closed, but otherwise, there hadn't been a change. We were on a different line that time, I said, in an attempt to soothe her
I don't know why
fears.
I don't know
My
why
tone
they were
was
being
probably unconvincing, as my mind began to untangle
I
the
don't know why they were
troubled
doing that,
thoughts
bro.
creeping around inside. It's probably just a company policy. Let's try and get some sleep before some rent-a-doc comes to knock on the door and take our temperature. Nancy
TikTok
muttered
follow.
in agreement, and put her head back on her pillow.
From TikTok. Hey,
I
W.
stretched myself back out on the too small bed and pulled the covers up to my shoulder. The steady hum of the engine lulled us both back to sleep. I woke again to the sound of muffled screams. My pulse quickened as I jolted up in the bed. Sitting stone still, I listened intently for another outburst, but none came. Only the constant hum of the massive engines. It had been something in my dream, I thought to myself, and settled back down into the bed again.
No.
Nancy was
The kids weren't gone. I was still seeing their comments. Y'all literally couldn't see the comments. They weren't gone. I literally
she
saw
shifted
them.
her body as she shrugged the blanket off of her shoulder. The rise and fall of her back as she breathed helped to slow the panicked thumps from my heart. Sympathy panic, Marvin. That's all it is. Nancy got a little worried earlier.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna
spooked
stay
you
quiet in
too.
my own stream.
Calm down
What?
and go back to bed. This vacation will be gone before you know it. Just as I was settling in, I heard someone knocking heavily on a cabin door in the hall, followed by a loud voice. Through the door, I couldn't quite hear what they were saying. It was the medical team, I thought, making rounds to put all of this silly business behind us. I gently stood from the bed and crept to the door, placing my ear against
Morally,
the
there's like a
cold
heart like near the screen.
The
You
voice
should
of two men
be able
filled
to
the
follow.
hallway.
Like press the heart.
One soul lost and one awaiting treatment.
said the first man. The sound of flipping pages followed.
Male and female. David enjoys Carmichael's. I'll call for
W
the
follow,
removal
appreciate
team.
you.
Said the second man.
Which one needs treatment? The man or the woman? The man.
Bro,
The first
I'm
one
so mad.
replied.
I don't even know what's going on in this. I don't even know what's going on right now.
I could hear one of the men walk back into the cabin.
Said the
before
haters
a
left
single
long before he
gunshot
ended the
rang out.
TikTok. They did not.
I fell onto the floor
I
in
literally
shock.
kept seeing them.
Treatment complete.
Why would you think I end? You think I just end for no reason?
Last
Like what?
cabin on this floor. Looks like Marvin and Nancy Compton.
Stop
Up the
saying that,
door.
bro. Stop saying that.
White noise filled my ears as I heard a plastic keycard slap against the magnetic lock of our door. The heavy wooden barrier pushed in and light flooded through the opening.
And people wonder why TikTok's getting
Two
banned.
men
Oh
dressed
god.
in hazmat suits stood in front of me. The man in the rear had a gun,
Good evening, Mr. Compton.
said the first man.
Are you or your wife feeling ill?
A medical team wearing the same hazmat suits as the two men came to our room and examined us.
108
It
viewers
seemed to shock them to find us in perfect health,
on Kick. Let's
terrified
get it.
as we were. They had us put on two hazmat suits and raced us to the elevator. Two men escorted us down the main hallway and through the empty lobby and onto the main deck. We didn't see a single soul other than the medical team. No matter how many questions we asked, they remained silent. We approached a helicopter that sat idling on the deck. Lounge chairs and white towels sat scattered all around. The team pushed us into the chopper where we belted up and lifted off into the sky. Nancy clung to me more tightly than she ever had before. As we moved over the side of the ship, it finally made sense why we hadn't seen anyone else. On the deck were bright white body bags,
I can see you.
thousands of them.
Innocent.
Thanks
I can
for
see, I
watching.
can see you, the person who's saying they're innocent. All right, that was a good John. Let's watch another one. See, I'm so, bro, it's so peaceful now, bro. It's so peaceful now. I wonder what happened to the TikTok chat. Wonder what happened to them. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the kick follow. So peaceful now, bro. Wow, there's a lot of people. How long you been growing your hair, Hundo? I've been growing it for a minute. I gotta get it redone though, because it's like really messy right now. Dr. No Sleep is a little like he's like weird. I'm about to put on IMR horror stories because like I don't like him. He's like boring. It's not really like, where is he, bro? IMR scary tales. All right, let's see. All right, I'm about to watch IMR scary tales. Thank you for the Twitch follow, but I'm not live on Twitch right now. Another thing, I don't know why. Thank you for the YouTube. 3 true warehouse stories. All right, let's watch this one. Or yeah, let's just watch this one. Probably only watch 1 or 2 because I gotta go to the gym
I
soon.
worked as a night watchman all my life for this warehouse.
Don't let 7-year-olds make
located
you
on the
mad.
Outskirts.
We support
One
you.
night,
I get
was
that,
at
bro.
dinner
I get that.
after
They didn't
my
really make me
usual
mad.
rounds
I just
when
don't take disrespect, and no one should have to take disrespect. That's why I ended the stream. The people that will support me will come over to the YouTube or Kick, like they're doing right now. Like, thank you for the Kick follow that just happened right now. But yeah, Kick Kick is like Twitch, but it pays better. Yeah, it does pay better.
Heard this mysterious sound. It was the sound of something being dragged on the floor. So I got up to check. Sometimes homeless men sneak in to spend their night under a roof. Expecting something similar, I entered the storage unit where piles of cardboard boxes were lined up like a tower. That's when I heard two unfamiliar voices. "Hold the legs, I'll hold the hands." "Didn't expect it to be this heavy." "It's a dead body, not some bag filled with trash. It's supposed to be heavy, moron." Did they say dead body? Holy smokes. I quickly switched off my flashlight and peeked behind a cardboard box to get a better view of what was happening. When I saw,
I was in the TikTok. Let's go to Angel Hoops.
Two men were dragging a black polythene-wrapped sheet, which I now know has a dead body inside. Never in my life had I thought to come across two murderers sneaking a corpse into this warehouse.
Well,
I took out my phone to call.
You literally could just mind your business. You literally could mind your business, just go on with your day. But you're gonna investigate. Go ahead.
Cops, but realized there was no network inside the storage unit. The men were taking the body to the basement. I was silently following them, hiding behind the boxes.
He's not gonna mind his business, Chad.
And I stepped on a broken piece of glass. The crunch made the men stop what they were doing and look around with wide eyes. "I think there's someone here." "You check that way. I'll look behind the boxes." "Oh no, he's coming this way now."
Thank you for the follow.
What should I do? I quickly crawled to the doorway.
It's kind of laggy
before
on
I
Twitch.
could get out,
I'm not
one of
streaming on
those
Twitch.
murderers blocked my way. "Where do you think you're going, Doc?" "Move away. I have a gun." "Really? Show me." I don't want to injure you. The cops will be here soon. I've informed them already." "I know you're lying. But don't worry, I have a knife and that's better than your fake gun." Saying this, he took out a big knife and lunged at me. We started struggling on the floor.
Ew, why bro mounting him like that, yo?
My eyeball. I was freaking out of that one wrong move and I'm dead meat.
Oh, I can fucking curse
just
on this
like the
joint, too.
body in the
Fuck
plastic
TikTok.
bag. But when death comes, you try the hardest to cling to life. I took out my flashlight and hit him on the head with it. He moved away, holding his bleeding head, and dropped the knife accidentally.
Yo,
I
Hondo, I'm
took
from
full
TikTok and
liberty
YouTube.
of this
What's going on,
chance
313?
and grabbed the knife before he could. He again jumped on me.
Is it laggy
I
on
stabbed
Kick?
him in the heart. The knife was
Let me
deep
know.
inside, and blood came out from his mouth with a dying choke. His lifeless body fell on the floor.
I don't think it is.
I just murdered someone. But I did it in my self-defense. There's only one way to inform the cops now. There's a phone in the security room. I must go there. I rushed to the security room, and as I opened the door, I found the second murderer waiting for me with a smile and a gun pointed at my face. How the hell did he get here? "Timmy was a moron, but I'm not. I'll kill you before you can take another step." No, stop! I dropped the bloody knife from my hand. My mind wasn't thinking straight anymore.
Kick.
I already have blood on my hands, and just like this man, I'm guilty of murder too. But I don't want to go to jail.
We got 134
That's when a
followers,
vicious idea
134
came to
viewers
my
on
mind.
Kick.
Look, we can both get away if you listen to me. Are you trying to make a deal
And we only
with
have
me?
86 followers.
No, I don't want to go to prison, that's all.
Hold on.
I have a
Hold on. Chat. Hold on. We have 137 viewers on Kick and 86 followers on Kick. What's wrong with that number? Tell me, what's wrong with that? Does anyone know the problem there? 137 viewers on Kick with 86 followers. Anyone want to figure out that problem?
a wife waiting for me to come home. I want to live. And if I'm not wrong, you want to live too,
Whoa,
right?
What's up with you?
The man's face changed. He lowered the gun and asked, "What do you have in mind?" I told him that together we can get rid of the bodies and part ways. He proposed to delete the CCTV footage to leave no evidence, and that was it. We dragged the bodies one by one into the incinerator and burnt them to ashes. Not even in my wildest dreams I thought to work side by side with a murderer. But life is not the same for everyone, especially when you're not rich enough. After getting rid of the bodies, we shook hands and promised to never see or talk about this night again. He left in his blue pickup truck and I closed the warehouse. You can't imagine how I drove home that night. I stopped to ring the doorbell but found the main door already open. I got inside. There was only moonlight coming from the window. I threw my body on the couch. I called out to my wife and she spoke from the kitchen. Nancy, are you awake?
Yes, dear. I couldn't sleep, so I came down to get some milk.
Why didn't you lock the door?
Oh, who would come at this
I just
hour?
pinned
You sound tense.
a
Is
Twitch
everything all right?
a Twitch tip
I
joint if
wiped
y'all
the
ever want
sweat
to
off my
tip or donate.
forehead and relaxed a little. I don't need to tell her about any of what happened. I calmed my voice down and said, "Can you get me a beer, please?" But she didn't answer. I called out again. "Nancy, are you there?"
Do I play 2K
But
on the
this
stream? No,
time,
I do not play
she
2K.
replied,
Yes, dear.
I picked
He said,
up
"Bro,
the
I
phone
followed.
with shaking
Why is it not working?"
hands.
Just give it.
Is
Maybe
the
it just takes
cops?
time
Are
to
they
register.
already
I don't
looking
know.
for me? Hello?
Jonathan,
Yes. Who's this?
I'm your neighbor, Mrs. Morris. Don't worry. The cops will be here any moment. I knew something was wrong when I heard a scream. I got up and saw two men dragging something in a plastic bag outside your house.
What?
They left in a blue pickup truck.
I dropped the telephone. I picked up my trembling body and walked to the kitchen. I turned on the lights. There was no one in the kitchen. It was ransacked completely. There was a long blood trail starting from the kitchen and ending at the door from where I stepped in. It's been 6 months now. I'm a prisoner in Ohio County Jail. I can't sleep at night, as that one question keeps haunting me in my dreams. If I killed one of the murderers of my wife and helped the other get rid of my wife's body, then who answered me when I got home that night?
That's weird. Story number 2, man. There's not really much I can say. I was only talking to TikTok chat to pause them so they can come to the YouTube or Kick chat. But I appreciate all y'all that are in my YouTube and Kick right now. I pinned my dono link in both chats. So if anyone wants to dono, wants to support me, I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, I thank you so much though. Appreciate that. By the way, what was I about to say? I was about to say something, but I just forgot. What happened to the TikTok streams? I had to end it because they were being toxic, bro. I just subbed Hundo. Thank you, Blake, for this YouTube sub. Thank you so much. But yeah. If you're trying to sub on Kick, you can't sub yet because I'm not affiliate yet, but I will be soon. So just give it time. Just give it time, baby. Just give it time. And yeah. What was I about to say? Let's watch this last story. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. We're gonna watch this last story. Then I gotta go to the gym because I'm actually kind of late to go to the gym. But I like y'all, and I feel like y'all not toxic. And yeah, we finna be cool because y'all sturdy, bro. Y'all sturdy. And yeah, if you're following me on Kick, if you're watching me on Kick but you're not followed, follow me. Don't be dumb. Follow me. All right, man. Let's start it up. All right.
I woke to find myself strapped to a chair, the faint hum of a forklift echoing around me. Help! Is anyone out there? The laughter I heard in response was enough to make my skin crawl. I had to get out of there and fast. Suddenly, the ropes dropped from the chair and I was free. I raced through the warehouse, desperately searching for an escape route. I threw open a door and found myself face to face with a guy in a Jason mask. What the? Who are you? The only response he gave was raspy breathing. He raised a machete and I felt my heart stop. I needed to hide. I dodged his swing and ran, my heart pumping with fear as I scrambled into his supply closet. I frantically looked around and noticed a trap door in the ceiling. I climbed up, hoping to find an escape route. The ladder was long, and I felt my arms aching as I continued the climb, the darkness around me only broken by faint lights built into the wall. When I finally reached the top, I opened the door and looked around. The room was dark, but I managed to see an object in the distance. Climbing out and creeping toward it, I realized it was a chair, the same chair I had been strapped to earlier.
I'm not going back on TikTok.
My heart sank as I tried to comprehend what was going on. I had to find a way out, and fast. I ran for the door, only to be greeted by two men in Jason masks.
Oh my gosh.
They were blocking my path, and they began to close in on me. What do you want from me? Why are you doing this? I had no time to wait for an answer. As they came closer, however, something happened that left me speechless. Their limbs holding machetes began to fall
Thank you for the kick, follow.
off as if they were made of plastic. As their bodies fell to the floor in front of me, I finally realized what these figures were and where I was. I had stumbled my way into a warehouse filled with animatronic horror characters. The sound of a forklift getting closer alerted me to the danger that lay ahead. I could see it coming from the shadows, driven by a man wearing a clown mask. Hey, you there! What's going on? He pressed a button and 2 more animatronic figures came out of the shadows.
This chat is which on my
They were
screen?
famous
The left
horror
side is my
characters,
YouTube chat, and the right
ones
side is
I'd
my
seen
kick
in
chat.
movies, but never wanted to face in real life.
Be more active.
Suddenly, the lights went completely out.
Don't worry, kick is just new. Don't worry about it.
The man in the clown mask was chasing me,
here just to
and I
follow.
felt
Thank you,
my
Tia.
legs start to give out from fear. No, get away from me! I sprinted for the door, only to find that it was locked. I frantically searched around and noticed a large red button on the wall. I pushed it and the door opened up, revealing an exit out of the warehouse. Yes, I'm free! The laughter echoing behind me only increased my fear as I ran out of the warehouse and into a nearby forest. The rain started to pour. I just kept running, noticing that my legs and arms were moving slower. I felt tired, old, and aged. I just gotta keep running.
Is he turning
I
into a
pressed
doll?
forward, running through the dark trees as I heard the sound of a forklift getting closer and closer. I finally looked back and I saw the man in the clown mask, his laughter ringing in my ears. I could see his animatronics coming toward me as well. They were made of metal, and their limbs began to rust in the rain as they chased after me.
Metal does not rust that fast.
I dodged behind several trees, making sure the man couldn't follow me in his forklift. I needed to find a way out. Finally, I stumbled across an abandoned mine shaft and scrambled inside, praying for safety. I hid in the dark, breathing heavily as I heard the forklift getting closer. I always know where you are. There's no hiding from me, you know. I held my breath and sank into a corner, trying to make myself as small as possible. Suddenly, however, I heard the footsteps of the man in the clown mask getting closer. He was coming into the mine shaft, and I knew that he would find me. I had to make a run for it, and I tried to leap from the corner where I was hidden to make a break for it. With a pure feeling of horror,
I know his knees and elbows look like that, bro.
I realized something. My arms and legs couldn't
That's what I was
move.
thinking, bro. I'm like, bro, is he turning into an animatronic, bro?
Looking down, I realized they were rusted, just like the animatronics. With a sinking feeling of dread, I knew that my fate was sealed. I finally realized what I was, and why I had been in that warehouse. My body, animatronic like the others, had completely rusted now. I couldn't move any longer, and I was doomed to stay in that mine shaft forever, or until he caught me. Looks like I'll have to reset your mind again. I saw him coming closer, and with a final murmur, I closed my eyes. His laughter echoed in my ears as the darkness enveloped me. The last thing I saw was the man reaching out to grab me.
That's crazy. That was crazy. You said mute jelly. Now I'm about to end stream right now. Oh, like I gotta go to the gym. It's shoulder day today, bro. I gotta end this joint. Immediately. It's gonna be a short gym day though. The smoke outside is gonna fucking fuck me up. I'm sorry, yo. I'm gonna be back on tonight though. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna be back on tonight. Hey, W stream though, man. W stream though. If you're in the Kick chat, make sure you come back. Make sure you come back every time I start streaming on Kick, bro. I'm not kidding. Come back every time I start streaming on Kick, bro. All right. If you're in the YouTube chat, you already know the vibes. Come back every time I start streaming on YouTube. You already know the vibes. But appreciate you, man. You said ban Ife Brian on Kick. What's wrong? What's he saying? What's he saying? Life Brian. I know you see me in these comments, baboon. I'm trying to watch my little stories and you stopping the live, bro. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're banned. Banned. You just got banned. And I was reading your comments too, but I didn't want to ban you, bro. Man, you got banned. Yeah, I gotta understand, bro. Sometimes, you're not really making me mad. You're just hurting yourself. I'm not gonna let you say what you're gonna say, though. You said please 5 more minutes. Nah, bro. This story is more than 5 more minutes, bro. But yeah, we're gonna pick it back up. We're gonna pick it back up here. Oh yeah, and also everyone spam L's in the chat for Life Brian, bro. Everyone spam. Can we get L's in the chat for Life is Brian, bro? Life Brian. Life Brian, bro. Let's just get some L's in the chat, bro. Yeah. Get out of my chat, boy. You're an idiot. The stream loves me, not you. Don't be dumb. Alright? Alright. Bro's a doll. Oh God. Are you calling me a doll? Am I cute? Does that mean I'm cute? I don't think I'm that cute. Honestly. I just do this because I love y'all. I do this because I like streaming. Oh my God. It is so hot in my room because I can't open my damn windows because of the damn smoke. Ah! Bro, I'm so sad, bro. So sad, bro. Let's switch. Whew. Let's switch, boys. Oh my gosh, bro. It is hot as fuck in my room, bro. Y'all have no idea, bro. Uh-oh, the chat broke. What happened to the chat? But alright, though. I'll talk to y'all. Is there a way we can raid? Can we raid on Kick? Is there a way we can raid, bro? I would love to do that. I just don't know how to raid. I don't think we can. You need to have 5 viewers to host. Well, I have more than that. Oh, and it says I have 130 viewers right now, bro. If I have 130 viewers and I have 95 followers, there is something wrong with that number. I want at least 100 followers from those 130 viewers, bro. You said who's racist? I don't give a fuck, bro. Bro, you said ban him. He's racist. I'll time him out. He's probably not gonna be back from another stream. He's gonna get timed out. Time him out. Yeah, he's not gonna be back for another stream. All right, but we got 130 followers. We got 130 viewers in my Kick chat, and we have 95 followers. There's something wrong with that number. There's something wrong with that number, bro. Yeah, man. But all right, I'm gonna talk to y'all, bro. If you're in the Kick chat and you're watching me, just follow me on Kick. Literally follow me. But all right, yo, I'm gonna talk to y'all. Y'all be easy. Y'all be safe. All right, I love y'all. Bye.